I believe we have Maria Nate here with us, so let's see if we can bring her on. She was, again, we just watched her testify this morning. Maria, how are you? Good to see you. How did it go this morning? What was your takeaway? And we have a clip we want to share with your exchange with Winder, but can you kind of set us up what this bill does, what you see it doing?
Well, in their attempts to fix their big screw up from last session, they decided that the best answer would be to move all the election dates to April. So what you normally go do in May when you go and select your candidates to run for office would now be the third Tuesday in April, which pushes the filing deadline up for all these candidates to the first part of January. So now you're going to have legislators absolutely running during the session. And if you think this session is nuts, wait until they're all actively campaigning during the session. It's a huge mess to fix up their mistake from last session.
Are there rules for or against whether they're ethic rules or whether they're just like literal like statutes where legislators can or can't campaign during legislative session?
I don't know of any actual formal rules, and I don't believe there's anything in our sunshine, but they sort of frown upon getting donations during the session. That doesn't stop that from happening, and they almost have to because the elections are so quick after session.
Yeah, I mean, normally if they're done by the end of March, which is usually where they aim, then they really only have about a month or so before the mid-May, traditionally the mid-May election. So yeah, this will move that up. I mean, if they're looking at the third Tuesday in April, that's what this bill says?
That's what it says, the third Tuesday in April, and it's every single election, everything. So it cracks me up that this legislature and the Secretary of State, who professes to be so fiscally responsible, is going to have to spend millions and millions of dollars to educate the voter about this new change. Just put the presidential primary back in March and let's just be done and move on. But man, if you watch that committee hearing, it is like a battle between the two factions of the party. And so I'm sure if you're going to play that clip when Senator Winder basically admits that it's not his party, I'm like,
yeah, well, let's guys, let's go to that clip there and we'll catch people up to what Maria is talking about here.
I think, Mr. Chairman, it is helpful, maybe not for this particular bill, but trying to figure out a path forward. I think there was a clear understanding, at least even from the representatives of the party that are members of the legislature, the liaison. They even voted in favor of the bill. And then when it got over here, we found the flaw that it didn't allow for a presidential candidate to actually be able to file, and we corrected that with a trailer bill. And then the House didn't they gave it a hearing, and very short, no motion was made, it died. So we left without anything last year, which was certainly not our intent on behalf of the Senate. So I think it is important to understand whether the party supported that last year or not, because if that's the case, then maybe we can all sit down and actually talk through a process that says in 4 years from now, we will have a consolidated primary. It may not be March, because that really, again, as Mr. Birnbaum testified, that eliminates and hurts the ability of legislators and other down ticket candidates to participate very well when we're still in session. So I think, it would be good, and maybe it's just a question you can go back and ask your party that what would they do if we did come back with a consolidation to May where the state pays for the primary elections.
Ms. Nate.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Pro Tem Winder. I would submit to you that it is your party as well, and so that I think that it's beholden upon the author of this bill to work with the party. And if we want to get right down to it, the Secretary of State wrote a bill that was flawed. It went through the legislative process. It died in committee, which is part of the legislative process, yet the governor still signed a bill that removed the presidential primary. So if we want to go down that road, the problem came with the bill and then the governor signing it. Had the governor not signed it, we would have had a March presidential primary and we would not be in this big discussion that we're having right now. So I would submit to you that if you bring the stakeholders to the table and have conversations with them, you'll have a better outcome for your party and my party.
I love it when the mask slips. I can't hear you, Matt.
Okay. Wow. Sorry about that. Okay. Good. Yeah, a lot to unpack there. What did you take away from that? You kind of said it there that, hey, it's your party too, but is this the mentality that there are the political parties, but then there's the sort of uniparty that sits in Boise?
Look, we all know that this legislature is more left-leaning than it's ever been. And Senator Winder's mask slipped there when he said your party. I don't know what party Senator Winder belongs to. It's like the Senator Winder party, because all he's doing is just stopping good legislation, pushing legislation. He's electioneering all the time, trying to get rid of conservative legislators. It's so transparent to those of us that are here what's happening at the Capitol. And this is not about the presidential primary. This is about Dorothy Moon and the current leadership of the Idaho GOP. And that little back and forth that we had today perfectly explains it. I mean, sitting in the room, doing that, the Democrats are on the side going, eating popcorn, like, here they go again.
Yeah. And Winder, passing blame on the House, like, oh, we sent a trailer bill over to the House and they heard it, but then it just didn't go anywhere, as if that's not his daily procedure on the Senate side.
Well, it's so stupid because they started with the House bill for the original bill, but the trailer bill came from the Senate side. So there was games being played. They're not being honest actors here when they talk about what the real story is. But the larger point here, Matt, is that the people who lose are once again Idahoans, because they're going to upend the entire election system so they can stick it to Dorothy Moon one more time. And it's just unbelievable to me that they will throw out the entire baby, all the bathwater, all the children, everything, so that they can have a presidential primary election in April. Who cares about all the rest of the elections? It's just, they won't even talk about how bad that is. And that just tells you the mentality in the State House right now.
Yeah. And 2 points. First, and you mentioned it there, like all of this happened and the governor signed the bill. And correct me if I'm wrong, but when the bill was sitting on his desk is when everybody knew what had happened. Yes. So it wasn't as if nobody saw that they didn't write the correct language in there. I mean, he knew what he was doing, right?
Oh, absolutely. He knew. Everybody was watching this. They knew. He signed the bill after the trailer bill failed. And then they still try to blame this on Dorothy. She didn't cast one single vote. She didn't make one single motion. So it's not her. That just means that the legislative process worked, because that's how it happens. You work hard to kill bills. A rational thinking person would say, hey, the trailer bill failed. Let's fight this battle on another day. And they could have brought it back this session and we could have duked it out. But they were so hell-bent on not having the presidential primary be in March that they threw everything into the fire. Yeah. And that's the problem here, is that nobody is really thinking about the ramifications to the people. Right. Except us.
Well, and for those that I saw Senator Abby Lee question you on, well, because you had said nobody had come to the largest party in the state and said, hey, what can we do for this bill? Like Senator Guthrie's bill, they apparently did not reach out to the party to find a path forward here and bring you in as a stakeholder. And Senator Abby Lee questioned you, why would they even do that if you're standing there saying that you won't budge on a March primary? I felt that to be very disingenuous and not in the spirit of of unity, right? I mean, it's her party too, right?
Yeah. Well, I actually had a conversation with her just a few minutes ago in the hallway, and she brought that up again, and on and on and on and on. You're not going to budge. You're not going to budge. And I said, look, Senator, you'll never know because you never asked the question. You do not come with an effort for good faith bargaining. You have what you have. You want what you want. You have the power. You push it through. And that's the way it works. Those who have the most power win. And it's just unfortunate that the rhinos are they have all the power right now, and it comes at the expense of the people. It's a problem.
Yeah, yeah, it is a problem. Okay, there's also another election-related bill dealing. I think Vito Barbieri was dealing with it. Was this a about making sure that the majority wins in one single election? Is that?
Oh yeah, they're trying to do a constitutional amendment to prohibit ranked choice voting.
Right.
So that was introduced in House State Affairs last week, and hopefully it'll get a full hearing. But there's some other news to check into as well regarding elections. Rod Furness is also presenting a bill that lowers the threshold for the passage of bonds, taking it from the 2/3 majority or the 60% majority to, depending on if it's a presidential year or non-presidential year, 55% or 50%. I mean, it's like, what?
Yeah.
How much money is enough? All the money? It's just, who cares about your property tax? We're going to just tax you out of your home.
Yeah. Uh-oh, did we lose Maria there with that shot? Let's get rid of that shot. Okay. I think we lost Maria. We'll see if we can get her back, but I feel Maria, are you still there? There we go. We had a great shot. We had a great shot of you frozen there. Yeah, that's how we were all feeling. One last thing separately, because you bring up a good point about the money. All of this money that Idaho keeps sending to schools, and yet we see Democrats stand up and say it's not enough money. I see emails being sent to parents in school districts saying the legislature keeps cutting our funding. What is going on? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. Like, what is going on? We've sent so much money to the school districts, and then you got Democrats saying it's not enough or it's not coming from the right spot, and then you got school districts saying we're getting our funding cut. What's going on, Maria? How do we get out of this mess?
Well, you see who's running the show here. It's the largest union in the state. It's the teachers union, and they're well funded, well organized. They got all the teachers. They say you don't love children. I mean, they have all the talking points, and so they are able to ram these bills through. Plus, we have an incredibly liberal legislature right now. The House may as well be Democrat. What Representative Furness is presenting is a Democrat bill. So I'm just asking Representative Furness, when are you going to switch parties? Because this is, no conservative would promote this bill. There's so much money flowing to schools right now, but it's never enough. Oh, and P.S., there's never any accountability for them. Failing test scores, on and on and on. But
yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure.
Crazy.
Okay, well, can we get you on record? Are you speaking on behalf as a secretary of the state party here? Are you willing to sit down with Senator Abby Lee and whoever else, Senator Guthrie, as a party, as a Republican party, and figure out a way forward?
I absolutely would be willing to do that. I think that as stakeholders, we need to all be involved, and we need to not hear about this in a committee hearing. They are constantly saying, did you go to the stakeholders? Did you go to the stakeholders? And if you don't, they won't advance your bill. But on this issue, they don't really care about the stakeholders because they want what they want. So I'm willing to come to the table in a good faith effort to kind of solve this problem. We'll see.
Good. We'll see. We'll see indeed. All right, Maria. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We're obviously going to keep tabs on this, and we'll have you back. Where can people follow you and stay in touch?
You can go to IdahoFreedomCaucus.org. You can follow us on our Substack, Idaho Freedom Caucus. Today I'm speaking to you as the secretary of the GOP, but my other higher calling here is State Freedom Caucus. So
Yeah.
Go team.
All right, Maria. Take care.
Thanks.
All right, folks. This is an important bill happening on the floor right now. House Bill 525 is being debated. This is the bill that would put some restrictions on our health districts in terms of what they recommend or mandate across the board when it comes to situations like we had during the pandemic, where we were seeing mask mandates and social distancing and all that stuff being dictated out of these health districts. Representative Jason Gallagher is the sponsor on this bill, and it looks like they're about to vote for it. So let's listen in.
Has every member voted? Does any members change their vote? Clerk will lock the machine and record the roll. 58 ayes, 12 nays. Majority haven't voted in favor of House Bill 525. House Bill 525 has passed the House. Is there correction to title?
No correction to title.
Hearing none, the title is approved. Bill will be transferred to the Senate. House will now have before it House Bill 527.
Okay, well, it looked like there that we had two Republicans joining some Democrats in not all Democrats, but joining some Democrats in opposing that bill. So yeah, I mean it's fascinating. Fascinating stuff there. Well, that's good news. House Bill 525 passes muster in the House, and it will be sent out to the Senate side. I know they were about to go into another bill, and so we'll keep tabs on that. But we have not yet had a break. I need to catch my breath for a second, so let's take a quick break, and we will be back right after this.
It's our job to maintain the proper role of government and what we were tasked to do.